Hello everyone, so making this video to post about 1 month in China so far and what my experiences have been. It's pretty interesting after arriving here on the 23rd. Getting here was not that simple, you know, it was a solid 26 hours of traveling, which was quite brutal to say the least. You know, you never get a chance to actually relax, you know, you always got people around you, and then you get to a foreign place where you realize that nobody speaks English is quite severe. But after being here for a month, it really becomes quite easy. You know, people are very friendly here, and you know, they don't judge that you can't speak their language. They're actually just trying to speak to you quite a lot. So you'll be standing in the elevator and some old lady will get in and, you know, just start going off in Chinese at a rate of knots. And, you know, it's kind of sad because this woman's like really excited to speak to you, and you have no idea of how to say, you know, I don't understand a word you're saying. You know, so like things like that, the cultural barrier isn't that complicated. They're very understanding people from that perspective. They're like us Westerners. They give you some funny looks in the beginning, and you think they're just thinking like, what you doing in my country? But yeah, I think they're just confused. Had people look at me like that when they start speaking to you, even though you don't understand a word they're saying. They're very friendly, actually, in the end. So the first thing I'd like to say is quite interesting is teaching. What I'm actually doing over here is very simple, but is in no way similar to the way we're taught in South Africa. They're trying to make English fun here. So the idea behind it is that they want the children to enjoy English as, you know, a fun, entertaining environment. So you spend half of your time thinking of ways to make English enjoyable. So Hangman's a very good one, they enjoy that game. And yeah, just making it work around, you know, the way they like to learn. I don't know if the rest of them are taught like that, you know, as far as Chinese school is concerned. But yeah, they just make the whole teaching environment fun, you know, and they grade you based on how much the children actually enjoyed the class. So the second thing that you know, is very interesting about this place is the food is unbelievably cheap. Eating on this side of the world is it's practically free compared to what it is in South Africa. You know, if you're eating at local places, it's actually unimaginable how cheap the food is. You know, for me, I eat a lot of food. Like, you know, I think I eat possibly close to double what the average person eats. And for a meal that I can barely finish, it works out to a cost of about 30 Rand for the meal. Absolutely unbelievable. I found out I wasn't getting paid when I thought I was going to get paid. So what I had to do is some young budgeting over there. And what wound up happening is basically worked out that it costs me 45 Rand to eat when I buy my own food. About, you know, per day, you know, 22 RMB, which is absolutely unbelievable. That is breakfast, lunch and dinner. You know, you got to buy your own water over here as well. And that's also a pretty balanced diet as well, which was really, really shocking to me. I did not expect that. But yeah, that's also quite an amazing fact on this side. The third thing that, third, that's quite interesting is using public transport. In South Africa, I always had a motorbike or a car or something like that to actually get around. And on this side of the world, it's like, you know, my first time using the subway, my first time using the bus and all of that, which is also absolutely ridiculous. It is 2 Rand on the bus to get pretty much anywhere. If you don't have to take 2 different buses, and it is 4 Rand to get anywhere on the bus if it has air conditioning. Yes, buses have air conditioning here. Then the subway is absolutely insane. It's such a pleasure traveling on that. Train's a bit powerful when it takes off. If you're not watching, it will take you off your feet and knock you over. So you need to hold on to something, and sometimes it does get quite crowded, and you can I've almost fallen over a couple of times. Seen people fall over as well. But yeah, the subway is 4 rand to go anywhere, absolutely anywhere. That's with transfers to other trains, you know, which is just absolutely insane. Not as convenient as having your own transport. I plan on getting myself a electric scooter with my first paycheck, just to make life a little bit easier. And also with the electric scooters, they look like normal scooters in South Africa, with some funny bike variation looking thingies as well, but very, very convenient, and you don't need a license. There's one over there. Those ones are about 2,000 rand apparently, and then the scooter looking ones are 4,000 rand I think, with like a 60-kilometer travel distance, and I think they do between 40 and 60 kilometers on a full charge. Absolutely amazing. The fourth thing that I've noticed with China is the people can smoke anyway. Well, they're not necessarily allowed to, they just do. So I've had people smoking next to me on, not the subway and the buses, they're very strict. If you walk through the wrong door on the bus, the bus driver gets up and yells at you. But I've had people smoke next to me in elevators, in receptions. The one guy was going down from the 14th floor of this one school, and the person actually got into the elevator, lit a cigarette next to me on the way down, and walked straight through the reception area of this place, which was actually a hotel, which they do quite often. The other thing, you know, that's a bit irritating is the spitting. They spit a lot, and it's not necessarily like they're quiet about it. If you've ever experienced, you know, it's just terrible. The spitting is everywhere. They'll just be walking and they'll just like fire one off and spit on the ground, which is quite a big issue considering that you know, if you're walking around, you can't wear your shoes inside your apartment, because what'll happen is you know, you just wind up getting foot infections and stuff like that. So with walking around, it makes it a bit difficult. So that's probably the second most negative thing I've noticed about this place. The spitting really gets to me. The smoking, you know, it's not a big deal to me, but the spitting is really, really, really annoying. And then the final thing that really came as interesting is the pollution on this side. It is really, really bad on certain days. I don't know what changes it or what actually affects the pollution on this side, because a lot of the vehicles that are actually driving around, I've never seen anything bigger than a car with, say, like a V6, and all the cars are very quiet. If you listen carefully in the video of me walking down the road now, you can't actually hear the motors of the cars like you would in South Africa. All you really hear is tire noise, and that is because most of the cars are actually electric. All of the police cars are electric, and all of the bikes and scooters are electric as well, which, you know, the pollution gets really bad. You get something called a AQI meter, air quality index, which I check on a daily basis, you know, which will affect how much time I actually spend outside. And, you know, sometimes it usually varies at like the 180 on the AQI, which is classified as unhealthy, and then I think the max it's ever hit was 350, which is really bad, which, you know, I'll try and spend as much time inside, like it makes a difference, you know, because you're actually just breathing the same air the whole time. And I'll need to go to the supermarket like I did now, and by the time I get back, you know, I'll cough, and I've actually got like a slight smoker's cough, which, you know, is quite bad. And they say wear a face mask, but at the end of the day, those things don't make a big difference whatsoever. I've seen people wearing fancier ones, but I don't know where to get them yet, so I'll check that out as well. And yeah, that's been the most interesting things I've noticed for my first month in China. I want to start a YouTube channel as soon as I get paid and get my scooter and everything like that, so I can show everyone the other things I get exposed to over here. I want to show people what it's like driving around in the bicycle lanes on the scooters. They drive like lunatics. They don't stop at red robots. There's a really cool temple on the mountainside that I really want to go take a look at, and yeah, there's lots of other cool stuff to do around here. So I'm busy installing new software now, so I'm gonna see if that works. And yeah, cheers guys.